right. Well,
On that note, Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, and welcome to Spooky Sips, where we put our love of horror movies into a podcast and sip some spirits along the way. I'm one of your hosts, Yvette, here with my co-hosts, Laura and Brianna.
Hello.
Hey. Okay, so we just got finished watching the 2022 Christmas-themed movie, Violent Night. It's the one with the guy from Stranger Things.
Yes.
Because I feel like there's a lot of
describing
movies that were like Silent Night, Violent Night. Like, so if you can't find it. It's described as a bloody, brutal, and hilarious Christmas action comedy, which we'll get to in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
But
his name is David Harbour.
Oh, David Harbour.
David
yes,
Harbour.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just about this like really wealthy family that's on their compound, and shit goes down while Santa's in town.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's the movie. So we've mentioned before, when we pick movies, if we haven't seen it, we try not to look too much into it.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we want unadulterated reactions.
Yes.
But Laura and I had this thought because we started watching it first. And then Yvette sent us a message. And we all kind of realized, like, this is not a horror movie. This is not even a scary movie. There is gore.
Yes.
And so the violence actually is really gross. But it is in no shape or form a scary movie or movie. So we apologize.
It's an action movie and a Christmas movie, but it's not a horror movie at all.
I think it's still well worth the watch.
It still counts. It's not like it's not a happy Christmas movie.
Right. It's not like we watched a romance.
I thought it was a happy Christmas movie. There were such sweet moments.
Well, it wasn't like...
I mean, there's a lot of death.
Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. There was a lot of death.
If you count like a horror movie by the deaths, this one's up there. It had a ton of deaths.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't scary deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, to our defense, after Thanksgiving, we needed to give like a real movie. We were
looking at the rating more than anything else because we wanted to do you guys proud and do a good Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was our focus.
Yeah, like a legit movie. It was released to theaters. This is a real movie.
There was actual actors in it. Not just like,
a badly done porn.
A high school production of a porn mixed with a turkey.
Yeah.
Dog penis. I don't know.
I mean, I will say, and I'll just pitch it, again, it was a great episode though on our end. Like,
I mean, it was fun.
All right.
Okay. So the movie starts out in traditional Christmas fashion with the song by Burl Ives. And when that song started to play, I just my thought that I had in my head was, wait, this man's name is Burl Ives. Can you imagine meeting a Burl? Like this was a baby whose parents were like, meet my 2-year-old son. This is Burl. Can you imagine?
Yeah, no.
A little kid with that name.
The name Burl.
Like Burl?
I mean, is that much better than Bertrude?
No.
Which we'll get into because that's upcoming.
Burl is worse.
Honestly, yeah. I feel like Bertrude to me, that doesn't really seem that far off. That's kind of a real name.
Bert or Birdie or something.
Sorry if your name is Bertrude out there.
And I'm sorry if your name is Burl. I was just thinking to myself, I was like, I can imagine an old man with that name, but I can't imagine
a baby.
Like a baby or a toddler, like, oh, little Burl.
And if that is your name, like, I'm sorry that this is like a personal attack against you. Imagine listening to a podcast and it's like, can you imagine if your name was Laura? Oh my God.
We hate you, Burl.
I mean, awful. No,
get out of here, Burl.
I love Burl. I just think that was probably a little bit of a rough childhood with the name of Burl. Yeah. Okay, sorry, we can stop. I mean, also
he's like old, so it was olden days.
I know.
Not like Burl in 2024.
Yeah. All right, we can stop saying Burl.
We're gonna stop saying Burl.
Then we see Santa at the bar.
Yes.
And I loved
multiple
it.
Santas at the bar.
Yep.
Multiple Santas.
Yep. And Santa's just getting drunk. Santa is getting
he's
drunk.
not having a good time.
He looks in rough shape.
He's kind of cranky.
Mhm.
I will say throughout this whole movie, and it starts out from the get-go, I loved David Harbour's acting in it. I thought he did a great job
Agreed.
being Santa. Also, I've never been more sexually attracted to a Santa Claus in my life.
Santa Daddy.
Something about him, especially later on, once he starts kicking butt, I was like,
Laura, I really feel like you could have just said attracted.
no, sexually attracted.
You had to add in.
Yeah, just specifically.
Sexually attracted.
Like I was into it.
Especially at the beginning of the movie, though.
Right.
You know, like but this is jumping ahead like 5 seconds. But like, I hate when people throw up.
Oh,
so much.
We had the exact same thing.
Remove that scene.
Agreed.
It was
I just didn't
need it.
Like, I can watch someone being skinned alive.
Oh,
Yeah.
But vomit? No.
No.
Yeah, so he's drunk and cranky at the bar, but then he drinks too much and then gets in his sleigh.
Right.
And then someone sees, I think it's the bar owner.
Like the bartender.
Or the bartender. She like, he goes up through the chimney or a back stairway.
Because he had given her a gift.
Oh, yeah.
He named her grandson, what it was. And the bartender was like, there's no way he could have known this.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes up and sees the reindeer flying away.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, it's Santa.
Oh, yeah, because
that was my
Santa.
British accent.
This is in England, by the
That
way.
was my British accent.
Oh, I did love, and I did not catch this because I'm not familiar with English towns. But whatever town they said they were in, like as soon as
Bristol.
he like flies away, but it's like that looks nothing. Like they didn't even try. They should have just said London
Agreed.
if they were going to add skyscrapers.
Right.
Like it was, and then I looked up pictures. Yeah, because it was Bristol, right?
Mhm.
And I looked at
Bristol, yeah.
pictures, and it's like, yeah, it looks nothing like that. Like
No.
I don't know why they
Just say
specified-
England.
Just say England, the UK. I don't
Right.
know. Like
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
a weird
interesting.
thing to mess up.
Yeah. Like, why even do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our start. And okay, here we go.
Well, and we also should say, when he's at the bar and cranky, he's just talking about like how this might be the last Christmas. Like kids are just, they don't care anymore and people are just awful and terrible. Like you can tell he is just experiencing major burnout. Like he is just not into it anymore.
Disgruntled Santa.
He's a very disgruntled Santa.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and then we cut to this mansion at
Connecticut.
in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And
we meet like the little family first.
Yeah, we
I
meet
wrote-
the
or-
little family first.
I wrote down that
Because like they're in the car. They're driving there.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they drive
we-
to the mansion.
Yeah, we meet the mom and the dad
Mhm.
and the little girl Trudy.
Who's so
Mhm.
cute.
So cute.
Trudy is so cute. With her little outfit, with her little earmuffs and red coat.
But also, who sits in the middle seat?
I know, right?
It's better for camera angles.
It is.
No, I know. So much of like, I'm not gonna lie. The beginning of this movie, and I think I gave it a little bit before I reached out to you guys to be like, am I watching the right movie? Like
Yeah.
the beginning of this movie,
It was a slow start.
It
it's
was.
slow. It's a little weird. The acting's not incredible. Like the first little bit, the first section of this movie to me felt like a fake movie that's on like in the
Yeah.
background of like
Yeah.
another TV show or a movie.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll have like fake movies.
I
Mhm,
don't
mhm.
disagree.
Because I did not like this movie much at all until I would say maybe for me the last 45 minutes are like the best part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But especially the first half an hour, I was not into it.
Mhm.
I agree.
And I will say, this is just my beef all the time. So directors, producers, if you're out there casting, if your actor has such a strong accent that they can't hide it, just let them be who they are.
Yes.
Because the guy, what was Jason was his name? His British accent was so heavy that like
Yeah.
it
Alex
it almost-
Hassel is the the actor.
It just, I was like, just let him have a British
let him.
accent. Yeah, Laura was like, say he went to boarding school in England.
Yeah,
Problem
it
solved.
would have worked. They're fancy. They're rich.
They're fancy. You make one little quick offhanded line of like the one sister who was jealous of him because they were definitely butting heads. All she had to do was say something like, "Oh, just because you got to go to boarding school in London, you think you're fancier than us."
Yeah.
Boom, done.
That's
then
it.
let him just speak in his accent.
So that's my beef.
Yeah, I agree. It took me out of it. His acting, I did not like because of that a lot.
Yeah. But we meet them. They're obviously like separated. There's obviously something going on.
Yeah.
And it's very clear, like the little girl is, I mean, I'm jumping ahead, but like she's going to wish for her family to get back together for Christmas.
That's all she
like
wants
a
from
fucking course. Like there's literally nowhere else that plot line could go. Like,
No, for sure.
so we get that. And then, then they get to the compound.
Yes.
And you can just tell it's like just kind of a shitty, wealthy family.
Yeah, I just wrote like it's this terrible family with this rich matriarch. They were just terrible people.
And like you can tell it's like wealthy because they have like a security gate and then they have security cameras and guards. They have people decorating, they have servants, they have bartenders. Like
this is like a fully
like,
staffed
exactly
house.
right. We're talking big.
Yes. And the sister is played by oh my gosh, wait, what's her name? Actually I don't know the actress's name. It's Edi is her first name. Is that Eddie? Eddie Patterson?
Yeah. I would say Eddie or Edie.
Eddie? Yeah. I would say Eddie. Edie?
She's in Righteous Gemstones, if anyone's ever seen that. I have a hard time recommending it, but she just exact character.
Nice.
Like she changed nothing.
She's
just playing the exact same role.
I love when they do that. Like, you're just a one trick pony and you get it. You get your coin, you get your bag. But yeah, they're gross. So you can tell that the sister who has a young teenage son who's like an influencer, like a mini.
Oh my gosh. He looks like what Justin Bieber looked like when Justin Bieber was like, kind of in his heyday.
Yes.
With that stupid, like, toward the back of the head beanie.
Right.
That's like floppy. And like, he would just say like the stupidest shit like to his followers, which is probably like 8 people.
Yeah.
Like, he was.
And then the mom is dating a movie star who you can tell he's like not actually as big as he thinks he is. He's just like really like douchey.
Yeah.
But the one part that I could not get over was at one point they start making out, the mom and the guy, and she's like, "Kiss me in front of my son." I was like, "What? What? Why? What was that? What? Why did that just happen?"
It made just no sense. Like again, at the beginning of this movie, I was kind of like, this isn't how anyone interacts.
Right.
This isn't like they're so one note. Characters.
So that's the perfect description. And then we meet the matriarch, and she's like obviously like playing the head bitch role. And the 2 siblings named their kid after her because her name is Gertrude. So they named their daughter Gertrude. She goes by Trudy, and then the son is Bertrude.
I actually kind of like that.
I did like that.
Gertrude and Bertrude.
Yes.
But yeah, so like while they're like they're interacting and they're like, I don't know, like getting together for the Christmas dinner that they're going to go to. We also are seeing scenes, and I forget if this is happening at their house yet or somewhere else. Maybe their house already, where I just wrote that Santa's getting sloppy. So like
we see him at other houses too.
At other houses.
And he always like finds their alcohol and takes it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's just getting drunk.
But I think he ends up at their house and he's like chilling on like the massage chair.
Yes.
Like he's like full
like falling asleep.
He drinks their brandy.
Yes.
And eats their cookies, and they have the biggest, girthiest candy cane I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That was the most sexual candy cane I've ever seen in my entire life.
This is I think what got my mind going.
Santa Daddy. Here we go.
Oh,
sucking on that cane. But
where do we go from there?
I have no idea.
we'll pause and tell you what we're sipping on.
Yes. Oh,
because
yeah.
This is perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
So this was kind of a collective effort. You know, we all kind of were like, we had a vision, all of us, of like what we wanted for it. And Laura finally stumbled on the cocktail that made it. So what are we sipping on, ladies?
I forgot. Hold on.
Well, just a moment.
Do, 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 do.
Okay, I have it.
Do, 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 do. I had to finish.
You can say it because I just Googled real quickly.
Okay, yeah.
After we saw him sipping brandy, I think I just looked up brandy cranberry cocktail. And this
because for some reason I had cranberries in my fridge, and I was like, I feel like cranberries would be fun to use in a cocktail. So we are sipping on a cranberry orange brandy cocktail. So if you want to sip along, you're going to need some brandy, triple sec, cranberry juice, fresh squeezed orange juice, or if you're too lazy, just normal orange juice is what I did. Shake it all together with some ice. I put a bunch of cranberries in my glass just to make it extra festive. And it's honestly, it's pretty good. I like it. Like, I think you get all like the juice. So it's like, it's fresh, but it also feels kind of like festive, you know, with like the brandy and the cranberries. And so I'm a fan of this one.
A cranberry orange juice combo with alcohol, like with mixed drinks, is one of my go-tos. Love it.
I'm not a huge brandy person, but I think I might like it. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to make it.
I'd recommend it.
Yeah. So yeah, Santa's at their house chilling. He's fallen asleep in their game room.
And we also had seen that the dad like has clearly had a hard time like kind of committing to the family, which is one of the reasons why he and mom are separated. This is Trudy's parents. And so he had forgotten to take her to see Santa. So she didn't get to tell him what she wanted for Christmas. And so then he's like, oh, wait, there's one present we're going to let you unwrap early. So he like ran down to his family's basement and like just found this like box of junk and pulled out a walkie-talkie and wrapped it and was like, oh, here, Trudy, here's like your early Christmas gift. It's a direct line to Santa. And it's just a walkie-talkie. And so
it's like, what?
Right. So she's talking into the walkie-talkie.
I mean, I will say that is a real thing. Like you can pay, like there's hotlines that are like Santa will call your kid.
Yeah.
And be like, Billy, what do you want? So like, I think it's not like a wild, too far-fetched that they would have.
Well, except walkie-talkies are like open air. So when she's talking into it, any trucker or person using a walkie-talkie that happens to be on that frequency could then respond to her. So it's not very safe.
Yeah, it's a weird form. Like, I feel like they could have easily just been like, "Oh, just write your letter."
That didn't fit into the plot.
No, they wanted the walkie-talkie. I mean, this whole movie is just references to Die Hard. So they just wanted the walkie-talkies to reference Die Hard,
like
which is
they
fine.
Combined. This is what I think this movie is if you combine Die Hard and Home Alone and like Braveheart or like a war movie where there's like a lot of deaths and stuff. That's what this movie is.
Yeah. I will say though, like, I mean, I don't think it's this is just bad. I'm just grumpy because I'm stressed. But it's like it just makes direct references to them. Like it's like we watched Home Alone. And it's like, oh my God, do you think they're gonna make Home Alone references later in the movie? Yeah. Like they just take direct quotes from Die Hard and like direct scenes. Like you that's not like an homage or like a reference. You're just copying.
I will say Laura and I did recently watch Home Alone, so that helped.
Yeah.
But I feel like my threshold, I lower it for holiday movies.
Oh, for sure.
So like I'm a little more, so I enjoyed the Home Alone because I was like, okay, that's cute. It's nostalgic.
Yeah.
But I 100% agree.
I mean, to
me, it was a
like,
cheap shot.
What I hate when movies reference better movies. You know, like to me, it's like, I don't think you should ever reference a movie that was incredible to try to make your movie seem better.
Right.
But again,
although if you do it in a way where you're not copying, because for example, we all loved Better Watch Out.
Yes.
Had so many references to Home Alone, but they were doing it a tribute. They did not.
They did it well.
But they did the exact same things that happened in Home Alone, but did it so differently.
Yeah. So if you're like, I don't get what you guys are yapping about, watch this movie and then watch Better Watch Out, and you'll understand what we're saying.
No, Better Watch again. We don't have to talk about it for too long, but it is my favorite Christmas like horror movie. It is like the best execution of
100% agree.
In my opinion.
In fact, we're actually going to just stop and we're going to just Better Watch Out. So, bye. Okay, so the movie is long, but I feel like it does get into it relatively quickly, because like they're not hanging out too long and all of a sudden it's like, all right, they're descending upon the home, and we see that they're like, we
get like code names, like it's like we flash, I think, to someone else, and you see like the people talking to each other, and like they're all using like Christmas codes.
Yes, and they have watches.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. And it's like the
red snowflakes. Yeah.
Spy Kids style,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So here was my thought though, and I was like, I just don't understand. They in the description they say mercenaries descend upon the house. Is that the right fucking word for that? I was like, that's not what a mercenary is. Like,
I didn't know what to call them, so I was like, criminals, mobsters.
They're just bad guys. They're just like classic bad guys.
But he also, we do kind of end up learning pretty quickly that the matriarch of this rich family, she's also very corrupt.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like he wants to steal from her because she has been like profiting off of other people's misfortune. So like, I think
a timely theme in America.
Okay, yeah, that was my biggest gripe with this movie. Like it was like, oh, you have $300 million from the government that you were gonna like fund all like the bad people in the Middle East, and it's like, so okay, just so I like understand, I'm rooting for the family, the war profiteering family. Like I mean, we never see where they are on the list, but like grandma's on the naughty list.
Yes.
For sure. That's how Santa's deciding who to kill. And like, the family never gets checked.
I will say, I do like their execution of the naughty list, this nice and naughty list.
Yes.
It's like this scroll that like, I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah. And like it lights up with the text on the person's name and all the things they've done to make them either naughty or nice.
Yes.
So we realized that like the head of security is infiltrated, and all the staff are most of the staff.
Before we move on though, I looked up the definition of mercenary.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Ooh.
I feel like what we're thinking of is like the noun dictionary definition, which is a professional soldier hired to serve a foreign army. Like I feel like that's what I was kind of
okay.
I feel like that's not quite them. But I guess there's also an adjective definition of mercenary, which is being primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics.
Oh, well, shit, I was wrong.
So I guess that Okay,
all right.
So we learned something today.
So they quickly kill all the security.
Literally everyone.
Like they kill anyone that isn't the family.
So we get our first death, which is the security guard, Al, or whatever his name is. And then they say they do a bunch of one-liners. They say like, all right, it's time to steal Christmas. And then they quickly kill other
they kill we don't have to, they kill a bunch.
But then they just kill all the actual servers and staff, because they had like infiltrated and pretended to be some of them. And then we go from our first death to like our 15th, 20th death like in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I tried to write, I was like deaths, and I was like, because again, they were this movie started a little bit slow, and then I was like, ooh, okay, they're death number 1, the gate guard guy, like he was the first one.
Right.
And then number 2, I was like, and then a lot of other people.
Yes,
exactly.
So at this point, they're like rounding the family up to all be in the room, and they, Santa is catching on. He woke up, and he's like, wait, what? And so he tries to like do his magic to leave, but it's like not working. He doesn't have enough spark. And then at one point, he's fighting one of them, and like one of the security guards comes in, or one of the mercenaries, and like shoots at the roof, and that scares the reindeer, so they leave. They like abandon him. So we've got that happening as well.
And we learn who the leader of the mercenaries are.
Yes, we meet him, whatever his name is.
So he's the guy. I always think of him from like he was pretty big, like I think in the 90s, early 2000s. He was in the Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. He was in that. I cannot ever see him and not think of that movie because he's
been in so much. Like he's been
in a ton. He's been
Yeah,
he calls himself Mr. Scrooge, and he says the line when like he's confronting the grandma to like reveal himself who he is. He's like, "Bah humbug, motherfucker."
Yeah. There's a lot of Christmas puns.
It's so stupid.
And I will say again, I'm a fan. He's been in a lot of movies, but he was really phoning in a lot of these lines.
He really was.
I was like, he rolled up for the paycheck today.
So basically we learn that the mom, the matriarch, has this kill team, like that will come in and save them because they've had them their whole life, and like they always win because they don't pay ransom in this family. So like they're on the way. We know they're like less than 2 hours out. Kill squad. But the guy is like making it clear, like, no, let's just worry about what's happening here. We're fine. Like, let's just get everything.
Like we're gonna rob you. We're gonna take your money.
Right.
And then your kill team's not gonna be able to stop us. And okay, I know we can't talk about all the deaths because there's so many and they're so gruesome. But I feel like we have to talk about the first like really graphic and amazing death, where it's when Santa is confronted with one of these guys, and that's when I think they shoot the roof and all the reindeer fly away. He's then still battling with the dude, and turns out Santa's kind of jacked. Like Santa's like he's got like a aggressive past. And
when we at the very opening of the movie, we had seen him like break chestnuts like with his hand. Like it was like he like cracked it. So it was like, okay, Santa's kind of strong.
And so I forget if he pushes or how the guy happens, but the guy that's attacking Santa ends up falling out the window, or Santa pushes him out the window, and he just gets impaled on this giant, it's an icicle, but it's like
upside down icicle.
It's upside down. Like instead of it coming down from the roof, it's like coming up, which I don't think, like stalagmites and stalactites.
Yeah, that's not how,
Well, they're rich.
That's fine.
They can afford ice sculptures
wherever they want.
But it just goes right through them.
Yeah. I think it might even be the next Santa kill that's my favorite, where I was like, again, they brought me back, where I was like, all right, that was good. I think he's downstairs, Santa, and he finds another one of the guards, and they get into a whole fight. But the way that he ends up killing him is he stabs him with the star, like the tree topping star. He's still alive, comes for him. He plugs in the lights.
Because he stabs him in the eyeball.
In his eyeball. And his head just catches on fire.
That was pretty sweet.
And it's just burning
10 out of 10.
Blaze.
That was chef's kiss. I was like, all right, this is what I want for a Christmas slasher.
Yes.
I will say, once the deaths and the fighting started to happen, I enjoyed the movie way more. I think this is where the movie shone.
No, I agree. And just like the choreography of it was really good. Like, honestly, I just don't feel like you get much more festive than like trying to strangle Santa with a string of lights. Like, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, some of those were really good. And I know I saw an interview with David Harbour where he was talking about just like the training for this movie and like how much went to prepare for like the fight scenes and stuff. And he was like, it was more than I forget which movie he was doing before. It was like a superhero like action movie that he was in, and he was like, the training for this movie was way more intense. Like he had to train way more to be Santa Claus.
It paid off. He He wore that character well.
He carried this movie.
Yes, he did.
He is yeah.
No, and this like when he's doing all these fights, like that says when because Brianna and I we watched it together, and that's when I turned around and I was like, I have never been so into Santa Claus. I don't know what's happening to me. What's happening?
I have to say, one of my biggest takeaways though was 2 of the female mercenaries had these like peppermint headwear. One was a headband, one was a little clip, and that was the cutest shit I've ever seen. And I want a peppermint candy headband so bad.
It was so cute.
Adorbs.
Yeah. It was so cute.
No, the outfits were really fun with this one.
And so while there's this fighting happening, there's also these like interactions between Santa and Trudy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we should say, like, I think originally he was going to leave, but then she had, like, made him Christmas cookies, and she had said, like, oh, I made a cookie that looks exactly like Santa. It's the ugliest friggin' cookie.
Whack. It was whack.
It was whack. But, like, he ended up, like, really liking it, and so, like, they have actually, like, some really sweet
No, they
moments.
really,
He,
it's
like, saw her
cute.
through the window and was like, oh.
Yeah.
Shit,
And,
I
like,
gotta go back in.
She talks about, like, he's, gonna try to protect her from these bad guys that are trying to hurt her family. And it was just funny because then she was talking about, like, he was saying he was gonna give them coal or something. And she's like, and you can stick it right up their ass or something. And he's like, you're not allowed to say that. She goes, butthole. And he's like, no, that's bad too. And he's like, anus.
He's like, well,
and he's like, oh, well, technically that's the best.
They have some cute moments.
But it was cute.
Because, she had run away from the family and they just let her go because they were like, what's she going to do? So she had run away up and was hiding in the attic. And at this point, her and Santa are communicating on the walkie.
Yes.
And they're like planning shit. And I loved
their dynamic.
I loved the fake snow thing that she did because that just the way that they filmed it, where they were all just kind of like, oh my God, Santa's real. And you could tell that the head guy was like, shut the fuck up. No, he's not. Like, I just loved the way that scene was filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing I feel like we talked about the naughty, nice list, but also his bag was really cool. The way that he used it. So the way they decided Santa's bag would work is that it has nothing in it. But when you reach in, you get a gift. But then he like would use it as like defense as well, like pulled up the bag and then their hand would just go into like infinity, like
another dimension.
Right.
Or he would like go to pull out like something he could use as a weapon and it's like, no, it's a DVD, and then he's like,
oh my gosh, all the video games, all the video games.
Then it's finally something he can use. I forget what it ended up being, but
and then they burned it.
Club.
Oh, a golf club. Yeah,
he once got a golf club. Yeah, because all kids want is video games and cash.
Which was sad because he was like, bye, Zach.
Yeah.
So we've got all these things happening. People are dying. Traps are set. Home Alone.
Okay, wait. Before we keep going, like what? I'm going to sound so dumb. Like, what's a cranberry? Like, I had these random cranberries, in my fridge because I think I was going to do something with them. And so I like put them in the cocktail. Can you like eat them?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you can eat them.
Like just raw?
Yeah.
I don't.
Like, you can do that?
I think so.
No.
What does Google say? If you think that's stupid, the other night at my church meeting, I was like, I have a strange question, but did Jesus have a last name?
These are the questions, you guys. What is a cranberry? Did Jesus have a last name? I just know cranberries, like they float on water, right? There's like
like it was.
Well, did you look it up? Can you eat them?
It was floating on the cocktail, which again makes it really pretty,
right?
And that's why. But like,
you guys, cranberries are a group of evergreen dwarf shrubs or trailing vines belonging to the subgenus.
Yes, you can eat them raw.
Of the genus Vaccinium.
Yes, you can eat them raw, but they are typically cooked.
Acidic bogs.
Yeah, I don't think that's very good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
Guys, what's a cranberry?
What's a cranberry?
Look, we're asking the hard-hitting questions here.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Would not recommend just eating it right out of the fridge. Okay, sorry.
So wait, does Jesus have a last name?
No, they weren't. They didn't have last names. It was like, of
Jesus
Nazareth.
of Joseph.
Right.
It's like this movie. They're just Scrooge.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, so no, Jesus did not have a last name.
Okay. Although, to be fair, Scrooge is the last name. Like,
Right, because it's Ebenezer Scrooge.
his name is Ebenezer Scrooge, like your cat.
Like what I named my cat after.
Right.
How many
That's
cats
actually
did you have?
not what I named him after. It was just coincidentally also Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, people are dying.
Anyway.
And at this point, the kill squad had come, and we realize right away that they're working for the mercenaries.
Yes.
Like, they're in on it.
Well, we realize because we have the only like family death.
Yes.
I forget the character's name, but it's the daughter's
The boyfriend, the actor.
The movie star, yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, he has this line in the movie where he's talking about how like 9/11 wouldn't have happened if he was on the plane. Like he has this whole thing. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, like that's crazy that they like put that line in there. Like what a wild thing to come up with. I didn't realize his character was like loosely based off of Mark Wahlberg, who literally said that.
Yeah.
Well, he did say that if he was on the planes, it wouldn't have happened, which is a crazy comment that he apologized for in like 2012.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Okay.
The only thing I know about Mark Wahlberg is that he has a third nipple. That's the only thing I know about him.
I think that we've had this conversation on this podcast about that.
We tried eating a cranberry again.
How'd that go?
I'm fine.
Like, I don't know if he got it removed. You know, like Enrique Iglesias' mole, where he got it
Yeah.
removed, even though that was like his trademark. Like Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg had the third nipple, and then he might have gotten it removed.
Okay, so I'm going to just keep doing my best to get back on track here.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, the guy based on Mark Wahlberg, he is like, I got this. He like pushes the guy over and then like jumps out the window. He's like, YOLO, I'm going to save only myself. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
And he runs into the mercenaries who are like, you know, for
What's
half a second
happening?
are like, whoa, what's going on? Give us the rundown. And then they just kill him. So,
And then we find out, and my favorite thing we're going to talk about in this movie is coming up. We find out that there's a vault in her home, and that's where this $300 million is.
Mhm.
Okay. And we realize like the kill team is there to assist. Laura,
Are you going to talk about my stupid
Yeah.
comment?
I am.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about it in depth. Okay, here we go. So one of the first things that happens is they open the vaults and like it's gone. That money ain't there.
Mhm.
And they're like, what the heck? They're all like baffled. So they're like, it had to have been someone within the last like day that
Yeah.
took this money. So it's got to be a
Scrooge is like,
family
I had
member.
an inside man. Like,
Right.
I know everything. Yeah.
So they go upstairs and they start threatening, and they just choose Jason because everyone else is sacrificing each other, like being like, no, dude, kill them, like,
Yeah.
and they decide to torture Jason.
I don't think we've said who Jason is, by the way.
No, I think he's
we-
the dad.
I know, but
British.
have we ever said his name?
Oh yeah, I
I
did.
Yeah.
I just it was Jason.
And
Scrooge
so
Jason.
this was fucking brutal. But the mom has a mantle, and she
She has a lot of nutcrackers.
It could have happened.
She had a lot of nutcrackers, okay? And so like the Scrooge
lot.
are a hard time for like, why do you have so many nutcrackers? But they tortured Jason by putting his finger in and chopping his finger off.
Yeah.
And then they're about to put his nuts in.
Yeah, they were gonna do which I was like, it wouldn't fit. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those nutcrackers were big.
so
it was like a big, like it was like a
Person-sized
like the
nutcracker.
size of like their fireplace.
Yes.
Nutcracker.
But then Laura solved the case, you guys. She knew where the money was. And she was like, maybe the money is hidden in the nutcrackers.
I think that's a decent theory.
And I was like,
Obviously.
Laura, like, maybe $10,000 could fit in those
$300
nutcrackers.
million.
Not
Okay,
300.
obviously not just the ones on that mantle, but this was a ginormous house. There could be thousands and
No,
thousands
you're
of
right.
nutcrackers.
I'm sorry to say, listeners, that is not where the money was.
No.
Because there was like a lot of like they sprinkled in all these little Christmassy elements.
Yeah.
Like when the guy got impaled with the icicle, the way they kind of were investigating it and they were trying to figure out like who could have done this. They find these little cookie crumbs and stuff.
Yes.
And so I was like, they're sprinkling in these Christmas elements. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. But it
All
wasn't,
right.
you guys.
No,
We're
it
sorry to
wasn't.
say.
It was not.
And so I don't know. More shit's going on. More traps.
Okay, but
more
also
torture.
they like broke his finger with a nutcracker. Rest of the movie, his finger's fine.
His finger's
I
fine.
know.
Don't even worry about it.
I had the same.
So one thing that happens around this time that I really liked is because Santa's just been kicking ass, but he's also been taking a beating. Like right before he put the star in the dude's eye and then electrocuted him, they'd like been through this epic battle where he puts they're in like the downstairs basement where there's a pool table, and he puts like all the pool balls in a stocking, and he's like beating the guy up with it.
Yeah.
But he's also himself getting beaten up. So I forget if we see exactly how this happened, but he gets a giant gash. Like Santa is hurt. Santa is bleeding. But so first he like stitches himself up, but then how he like packs and secures the wound instead of, like medical gauze and bandages, it's like tissue paper and wrapping paper.
Yeah.
I thought that
like wraps it up.
Yeah, he like wraps up his wound.
No, that was cute.
Okay, but also, like, I feel like you shouldn't have been able to hurt Santa that easily.
I agree.
Like, there's all this magic. He has been alive for 1,100 years. So, like, clearly, like, he is an immortal being.
Right.
And you're telling me this is like the first time he's been in a fight.
Although I did like this detail as when they did hurt him that bad, and he was wrapping himself up with the wrapping paper. He had lots of pretty gnarly scars. So you could tell
he could take a.
Yeah.
This was not his first battle.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the scene where him and Trudy are talking because he's kind of like wiped out, so he's just laying around, and like he's talking to Trudy about how he's like, I don't think I could do this, like I'm not up for it. And he talks about his past, and we see like the Viking, or I don't know what it was.
Yeah, he's like a Viking
warrior, and he had this hammer that he called Skull Crusher.
Yes.
And he could just kill all these people. And he's like, yeah, I was like a bad person. And here's my one beef. I understand that we see that, so we understand why he can fight so well. But how the fuck does that relate to him being Santa? Like what?
They never explained why that.
I know they gave us like the tiniest glimpse of something that is so cool. Like and this idea that like Santa's this old Viking Norse god hammer. You know what I mean? And I thought it was like Thor's hammer. You know, like you get this awesome idea, and we get like a 5-second glimpse of it, and then just never get anything. Like this movie was too long, and they still didn't manage to incorporate just like a little bit more.
I think they could have done it more.
Yeah, I agree, because I love how that explains why he's such a badass at killing all of these like bad guys.
Yeah,
and he went by Nicomond the Red.
Yes, I love the name.
Was. But yeah, I agree. Like I wish they would have shown us then. Well, how did he then turn from that?
But Trudy uses this to motivate him to be like, well, now even though you were bad, you can use it for good. And like you gotta do this. And so he's like, yeah. And so at this point, like it's about to go fast because we realize that the son stole the money and hid it in the outdoor manger, like nativity set. And so we're seeing all of this happening, and we're seeing the inside too. Like the family that was left inside kills their guard in a pretty like brutal way. And like I did like the one mom's that's not the relative. I liked her line of being like, yeah, it's the only thing we've ever done as a family. Yeah, it was like beat this guy to death. So I kind of liked that.
The family that kills together is still together.
So like, so then they go to the manger, they find the money, and it's going down. And at this point, Santa is he found a hammer like thing, and he's just killing everybody. And it soon gets down to Santa and Scrooge.
Yeah, because like Santa had tried to attack one of the people with a garland, which or not a garland. Yeah, a garland.
No, it was like a cheap tinsely garland.
I was like, what is that going to do? That's going to snap so fast.
Yeah.
Right.
And at one point I had written down, and it's someone's trying to come after somebody, and it was just such a cool scene. I loved where there was a fire extinguisher that had like fallen up to a door. This is when they bust in to get to Santa.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put a fire extinguisher like up to the door, and then they shoot it and it explodes and it busts open the door. That was a cool effect.
I was like, that's pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. And then they tie up Santa with lights.
I know, I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
It was very pretty. It was kind of like in Better Watch Out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because then that's where we got them burning the bag and all that.
Right.
So we've kind of jumped ahead at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can start to get to the end, but like,
oh yeah, because when they burned the bag, I wrote down, "No, bag full of kids' dreams."
Yes.
Oh yeah, because that's what he said.
Yeah, he's really sad.
So at this point, we've got Scrooge and Santa, and Scrooge is holding his own. Like, he's a fighter.
They've
not
jet skied away at this point.
Well, because before, yes, they were now at this like outdoor fireplace. Because isn't that where he killed him?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was like holding Scrooge, and then he like says something about Christmas magic, and he touches his nose, and he goes up the chimney, and it just like disembodies.
It's
So because we had seen earlier, Santa would like touch his nose or his glasses,
right?
And that's what like does a little Christmas sparkle magic, and then he like goes up the chimney.
Mm-hmm.
But that only works for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as he was holding Scrooge,
he just was like
disintegrates his body.
It's like, you know, when a finger is degloved, and it's really, it was like his body was degloved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just get the blood like spraying out the top. Mm-hmm.
But then Santa's at the top and he gets shot.
Yeah.
And it's the head of the kill squad guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then it's the head guy shoots him, and then the grandma was somehow standing right there the whole time.
He does shoot him a couple of times. Like,
yeah,
he got Santa.
Mm-hmm.
But then the grandma kill shots.
Yep.
The squad guy, which was, you know, her one redeeming moment of the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then Santa's dying.
But before he dies, I have to say one more line that was one of my favorite lines when he was like kicking ass and taking names. As he's like he's like fighting with all of the kill team, he says, "Santa's gonna eat through these guys like a plate full of cookies."
Mm-hmm. That was a good one.
So Santa's dying, and they all flock to him. Because, of course, Trudy is very upset because they've had a very sweet relationship.
Yeah.
And he talks about how he's cold, and that's the first time that's happened. And so they get this idea to start. There's these little fires that are going out, and they're like, "Oh, we'll burn the money."
Yeah, keep him warm.
You know. And I was like, just burn like $10,000.
I know.
You know,
It's
just burn a little.
$300 million.
Yeah, they didn't have to burn $500,000. They could have just done like
right.
50,000 at most.
Yeah.
Like, but anyways, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then basically he dies.
And then he has this Tinkerbell moment where it's like, if we just believe.
Right. Yes.
And then all of them are like, I believe, kind of, I guess. And then Santa comes back to life.
It's very much like an elf when like Santa's sleigh won't fly, and then everyone starts to believe, and it gives him more power and more power and more power.
Yes.
As soon as like they all believe, then
yes.
Yeah. It just takes like 5 people to believe, and Santa's good.
Yeah. and then he's back, and then he tells Trudy, like, I gotta go. It's Christmas Eve, baby. Like, and his reindeer come back. And I will say, like, I loved this moment. Like, I feel like we already said, but his acting and like delivery made this movie. But you know, he's like all mad at his reindeer because they like left him. But then he sees that they like went back to get his spare Santa sack. And he's like, "Oh, you bastards, I can never stay mad at you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, Santa."
Yep.
It's cute.
And that's it.
There are a few key scenes that we kind of skipped over.
Yes, and we can talk about like favorite gore moments, because I have a couple of those.
Credits scenes.
Yes. Laura and I may watch them.
Yes.
I will say one of my favorite moments that we didn't talk about that like I literally keep randomly thinking about is they're there were a lot of those like guys, the squad, in the outdoor like barn.
Mm-hmm.
And we just see like a snowblower.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then
That was
we
one I
see
wanted to talk
Santa
about.
go to the snowblower and turn it on. And it's like one of those big industrial ones, right? Because it's a huge plot of land they live on.
Yep.
And the moment that one of the guys gets sucked into the snowblower,
Mhm.
like I will actually say this movie had some of the better done gore that I've seen in horror because it can be so tacky and bad. Like
I liked it.
they were pretty good.
Mhm.
I bet, do you just keep eating cranberries?
Are you just
Yeah.
eating cranberries? Are they good? What do they taste
No.
like?
I
They're
thought
not.
you didn't like it.
They're like really tart.
and yet I just keep
really
seeing
bitter.
you eating that.
I like broke one open. You know, I finished my cocktail.
Yeah.
Okay, one of my favorite of like the battle scenes and the kill scenes was when they're fighting, and I think it's Santa that picks up the concrete baby Jesus
Oh yeah, that baby Jesus looked like he was made of concrete.
that
Yeah.
was like so hard, and he just bashes the dude over the head with the concrete baby Jesus. I really liked that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a legit baby Jesus.
And then at one point, when they're kind of like walking through the woods and they're like chasing the other person, I said to Brianna, I was like, why are they just like walking around with crampons on? And Brianna lost her shit.
I was like, yes, I was like, what do you mean they're tampons on? Like, I did not understand.
Yvette, do you know what a crampon is?
No.
The crampons are okay. They're these little spikes that you strap to your shoes, and they help you walk in ice.
Oh, okay.
if you're
yeah. I feel
hiking
like
in
I call them like
ice-
yak tracks or spikes.
They're crampons.
Well, I call them yak tracks.
I don't
or
think
spikes.
anyone else in the universe calls them crampons.
Okay, when I went to Iceland and we hiked on the glacier, they called them crampons.
Okay,
And we
well,
put
maybe in
crampons on.
Iceland, but like
No,
this
but
was
I
in
knew what they-
America.
No, crampons. People call them
They
crampons.
actually filmed in Canada.
Oh, well, this is Canada. This is North America.
Of course, they filmed in Canada. Every horror movie ever made was all filmed in Canada.
Land of the
yeah.
tampons.
No, it's a crampon.
No, I will never believe you.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we also didn't talk about, okay, so when Trudy had gone separated from the
Mhm.
family and she decided she was gonna protect herself in the attic, Home Alone style.
Oh, yes.
I actually liked some
I
of her
actually
methods.
liked that.
No, we do have
part.
to talk about her Home Alone.
I actually really liked that. Like, it was creative.
Because two of the bad guys went to go get for her. One was clearly like modeled after Marv from Home Alone.
They each
Also,
played their part a little.
Yeah. I
Like, they
feel like
each were.
Yeah.
for sure. I feel like they kind of both were, but the one like they see at the base of the ladder to get to the attic, there's these nails sticking straight up, and they're like, oh, what a dumb kid. Like, she thinks we're gonna fall for that. And so then they go to like walk up the ladder, and then he sees this nail sticking straight up, and he's like, again, like, dumb kid, we're not gonna fall for that. So as he's distracted by the nail sticking up from the one step, he then steps on a step that doesn't have a nail sticking out of it, but she had like sawed through it. So he slipped and he fell right through it, and then just impaled the underneath part of his chin, and the nail went straight up into his mouth.
Oh, that was a good one.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Because and then like, as he like pulls it out, which I'm like, ugh,
Yeah.
he then like, she releases all these bowling balls.
Yeah, because then the girl bad guy
Mhm.
tries to like go up above him,
Mhm.
and she knocks him back, and he falls onto this like board of
Onto the board of nails.
razors and nails. But there were like
Yes.
razors in there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it was extreme.
Yeah.
And then the girls like getting caught in the super glue stuff. Like, I liked the
Yeah.
Trudy Home Alone.
Yeah, they're these like horrific like traps, and she's like, oh my god, that was so funny. I
Yeah.
did such a good job.
Yeah, she was really proud of herself. She should
was.
be. That was,
As she should be.
Mhm.
Well, because also she got her Christmas wish. Did we say that already? That the
Oh,
parents
yes,
fell
she
back
got
in
her
love?
Christmas wish.
Yeah, which like what? like, y'all should not be together. Like, that opening scene with the family, I thought they were already divorced. Like,
Right.
it was like, I'm literally only doing this for our daughter that's listening and 5 feet away from us.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
And
then
then
he
it was
like
like-
has this whole like thing like, I'm gonna leave my family. I'm ready to walk away. Like I
Yeah.
choose you guys. But that's only after he made sure to steal $300 million.
300 million. Like, she's like, hey, your family money, like, you really need to, like, chill with that. And he's like, okay, got it. I'll just steal a bunch of it.
Yeah.
And then we'll live happily ever after. Like, no, they should not be together. This is an
Wild.
unhealthy relationship.
Agreed.
Terrible humans.
Mhm.
Terrible humans. Yeah, we get the end scene, and there's this stupid Justin Bieber kid, and he's like filming some of the dead like kill team, and he's just like, see this guy? He's dead as hell.
Dead as hell.
So stupid.
It's like, Santa Claus is real. So you better behave.
Don't question it.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yep.
But yeah, I think those are like the main things I wanted to make sure we talked about, because there were just some
Yeah, no.
amazing death scenes.
I feel like we needed to talk about those.
Mhm.
Yeah, when I looked it up online, someone said that it was 43 deaths.
Okay. I believe
And
that.
which sounds about right.
Because there was a
Okay,
lot.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a lot. I stopped counting after the first. I mean, it is
Right.
groups of people.
Mhm.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, well, I'm curious where you're going to take us this Christmas Eve, Laura. With
Yeah.
your psych segment. Just remember, although Santa is real, Laura is not a real doctor.
Mhm.
And that's okay. But she's
Mhm.
going to give us some insight, some psychology insight.
Let me tell you what is happening with Santa Claus in this movie.
Mm.
He is experiencing classic burnout.
Yeah.
What a festive topic, because I think most people are.
Mhm. Mhm. So I don't think we've talked about burnout on the podcast yet.
I
No.
don't think so.
Or just the psychology behind it.
Right.
Mhm.
But let's just chat a little bit. I'm just going to diagnose Santa with burnout. And we're going to talk about how he has been impacted and why he was a prime candidate for developing burnout.
I mean, after 1,100 years.
1,100 years. So, burnout, the definition of it, it's a mental health condition where chronic work stress can lead to both mental and physical exhaustion. And that would also include feelings of negativity towards your job and also lower productivity. Whoa. So some classic symptoms that people will see right off the bat is you'll feel drained, overwhelmed, exhausted, and not able to complete even typical or simple tasks within your job, let alone like big problems that come up within your job. And we start to see this in Santa a little bit. Also, some classic symptoms would be depersonalization. So you just feel detached from your own life. You no longer see yourself as valuable. We start to see this in the bar, right off the bat. We're seeing Santa sees this. And you have an attitude where you're more cynical toward both your work itself, your colleagues, and your clients. So we see that Santa feels that about himself, about his reindeer, and about the kids. And also self-doubt. So I'm going to talk about individual causes and how it specifically relates to Sexy Santa in this movie. So causes of burnout. Number 1, your workload is too high. You have too much to do and not enough time or resources to do it. Also, you don't have enough time in between tasks to recover. So in this, not necessarily in this movie, but in other movies we've seen of Santa Claus, like as soon as Christmas Eve is done, Santa has to start preparing for the next year.
Yeah.
So it's too much to do and he doesn't have any time to recover from it. Also, if you don't feel that you have control in your work environment, so if you feel like you don't have decision-making power or autonomy in your job, that can lead to burnout. Santa has no decision-making. Everyone says you're on Santa's naughty or nice list. The list makes it for him. The list is in control. Santa has no power over either the magic, his bag, or his list. He just has to do what they say.
Yeah.
So of course he's prone to burnout. Compensation. If you don't have enough recognition or inadequate compensation for your efforts, that can lead to burnout. Number 1, I don't think Santa is compensated.
I don't think so.
Who's writing his paycheck?
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe he gets to live at the North Pole for free, but.
Right. Yeah. Possibly. But also, housing is not everything. What about the things he wants to buy?
Mm-hmm.
What's in Santa's sack for Santa?
Yeah.
So, for the recognition component, for some people, he gets great recognition, right? He gets love, he gets respect and admiration, he's famous. So that's on one end of the spectrum. But then there's this whole giant population of the world that questions even the existence of Santa at all. I mean, that's pretty shit for recognition, right? People just saying you don't even exist at all, like you're not even real.
And I mean, we're supposed to get the idea. Not a lot of people believe.
Exactly.
His list is pretty short at this point.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, again, classic indicator that he's going to get burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Santa.
Also, your community of your work environment is going to impact if you might burn out. So if you have poor social support or isolation in the workplace, Santa is surrounded by elves and deer.
Yeah.
The only humans he interact with are unconscious and just wanting things from him. So he doesn't really have any human connections.
Mrs. Claus.
Maybe Mrs. Claus, but it's hard to get a read on like what their relationship is like.
Mm-hmm.
But
and
I
like
feel like he likes Mrs. Claus.
He does, but
it seems like there was a little marital strife.
There was it seemed like there was some marital stress in this.
Mm-hmm.
And like honestly, if you're the only person that your spouse can connect to, that's a little bit more than that.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And also, that's his personal life. You also need human connection and community in your work life, which Santa does not have. You cannot only interact with deers and elves as a human and expect to be fulfilled.
That's why Buddy had to go to New York,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Another thing that can lead to burnout in the work community is fairness. If you have perceived inequality or unfair treatment. And here's what I think happens with Santa Claus. His whole view of fairness is very skewed because it is confined to this very oversimplified view of naughty or nice. There's no gray area for Santa. There's no in between. So his just whole notion and background for understanding the concept of fairness, it's all fucked.
Yeah. Well, you can tell he also just has like, this is like the least controlled, Santa I think has in a movie. Like he doesn't make the list. He's not checking that twice.
Nope.
He doesn't even know how Christmas magic works.
Yeah, he's like, I don't even know why I'm here.
He's like, I don't really know it kind of feels like he was just like randomly assigned to be Santa. He doesn't know how the bag works. He doesn't know why he's been alive for 1,100 years.
Yep.
So that very much leads into my last cause of burnout would be a misalignment of values. So if the values between your personal values and your organization's values do not match up, that can lead to burnout. So I would say in this case, in this movie, Santa goes from being a murdering, violent warrior to a man who's devoted to making children's lives happy. So I'm not saying you can't be both, but maybe just it's a bit of a contradiction going from like his previous life as an actual human to then the 1,100 years he's had as just being this caretaker to little kids.
Yeah.
Misalignment of values.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to just talk a little bit about the stages.
Ooh, there's stages.
The stages of burnout.
Okay, there we go.
So first, you might overcommit. So, like to your job responsibilities. So, the whole world in one night, like I think that's a bit of an overcommitment on Santa's part.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fair.
Come on.
even with time changes, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah,
that's
like-
too much.
Well,
And
like, we don't even
magic.
need to
That's
say more at this
still-
point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Mhm.
huge overcommitment.
Mm-hmm.
You might also start to neglect your personal needs. Let's take a look at Santa's diet.
Yeah.
Not healthy. That's not
No.
sustainable. Just nothing but milk and cookies
And
beer.
and alcohol. Also, we see that he's not. I really did get that vibe that he was not having as much time with his wife as he should because he's
Right.
so committed to his job. So he's neglecting that side of his life.
Mm-hmm.
You'll also start to displace your conflicts and needs. So I think Santa is misplacing his misery with his job onto the kids that he's supposed to be bringing the gifts to. So instead of just being mad at his own situation in life, he's starting to be resentful toward the kids.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, all they ever want.
Yeah,
is-
like at the beginning of the film, he called up. He was like, "Kids are just like junkies, man."
yes.
Yeah.
So he's
About
starting to-
Christmas, it's
Yeah.
kind of true.
Yeah.
he's displacing that anger for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Amazon, we got the which, like,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
I'm sorry, what kind of chaotic person leaves an unwrapped Amazon box under the tree?
I know.
Amazon
right?
wraps it for you, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Like, how lazy can you be?
very.
Mm-hmm. So you might also start to revise your original values and deny there is a problem. And I think we definitely see that, especially, yeah, like with the Amazon stuff. Santa's not even acknowledging that might be that threat of people misbelieving and being able to get things easy on their own. He's not even acknowledging that could be part of why he's feeling insecure about his job right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll also start to have withdrawal and behavior changes. In this, what I'm saying is Santa's excessive drinking.
Mhm.
Like he didn't used to do that, and this is a behavior. This is a cry for help.
Okay,
Really.
now wait. I mean, if he was a Viking,
I mean,
he was probably drinking. Is this
Right.
not? Is this that new?
no, but maybe I don't know. Like, what does 1,100 years of drinking do to one's liver? Really,
It's probably pretty bad.
probably
But
pretty
Christmas magic.
that's true. That's true. You'll also then have, again, kind of back to that depersonalization and cynicism. So I would say for this, kind of what we see for Santa is that he's acting like all the kids should be on the naughty list, even the ones that are on the nice list, because he's bringing them their video games and all of
Cash.
their stuff, all their cash and stuff. But he's only doing that because they're on the nice list. But he's still viewing them as though they're naughty.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
But he would be bringing them cash and video games if they were naughty. So
Yeah.
this is all getting skewed. And then also despair and depression. So Santa is not giving any sort of indication that he has happiness or hope for not only his own future, but also just the future of the world.
Oh yeah. It's rough out there. There's
So-
there's that sad scene where he comes down the chimney and it's just like the drunk dad.
Oh, with the baby.
The little girl. So and he like takes the beer and leaves the lump of coal for the dad.
Mm-hmm.
This is a feel bad Christmas movie.
It really is. Yeah.
In case you haven't gotten that.
Well, then Santa for his own too, like not even recognizing that he's doing the thing that he's seeing as a problem in the dad. He's then also doing, but not really connecting the fact that it's the same.
Yeah.
So some treatments, some options, some things Santa can try. He can try to get professional help.
I mean, who could he see though
Maybe one of the elves.
that like wouldn't commit him?
Right. I mean,
Like,
someone
hi,
in the
I'm
North
Santa
Pole.
Claus. I mean,
yeah. So maybe that's out.
I mean, I'm just saying we have no idea what exists in the North Pole.
no, right? But if there's
Maybe
therapists out there,
some-
for sure. But if not, like he's got to be careful.
Yeah.
He's just got to tread lightly there.
He could also try some things like various stress management techniques, like journaling. He could start trying to monitor some of his stress levels, practice some self-compassion. But what I think Santa needs to do more than anything is he needs to start setting some boundaries. He can't be everyone's everything all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes take a vacation.
Yeah.
Hire an assistant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Take a Christmas off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's
No, I
going to
don't
burn
think he can
out.
take a Christmas off.
I don't know. Maybe he can.
If he hires a backup, an understudy.
Okay.
Because I
Yeah.
think if Santa continues to think that he is the only person that can be Santa for a 1101st year, it's going to be too much. And then we're going to have no Santa whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's better to just set some boundaries than to just burn himself out entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my psychoanalysis.
I love
of what's
it.
going on with Santa Claus.
Santa, we're here for you, buddy.
I've
Boundaries,
experienced burnout.
self-care.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced burnout, like I think a lot of people have in many stages.
We believe in
Especially,
you, Santa.
I think especially when you're in a field where you are caring for other people. I mean, I think you can experience it in any field, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of those things where it's like you kind of take ownership of other people's problems. And I think that's what Santa's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it gets you down after a little while.
Mhm.
It does.
Fair.
Yeah.
Boundaries is the biggest thing, I think.
There.
Yeah.
All right, Yvette, do we have any Christmas fun
Ooh,
facts?
Let's see. Christmas fun facts.
Well, I don't
have
know. I've
movie
just
fun
meant
facts.
festive.
Wait, but now maybe we should look up Christmas fun facts.
Right?
Let's see. I had some. Let's see. I didn't have a ton, but I had some. Okay, one thing I did not catch, I saw this after, is the logo of the catering company. Did you guys catch the name? And I asked because this is your family's Christmas movie.
No.
Christmas Story.
Yes, it's a reference to a Christmas Story. It's Farkas and Dill is the name of the catering company.
Oh my gosh.
Cute.
There are so many I honestly, I don't think we have time to break down
So many.
the amount of movie references that are made. Like we've talked about Home Alone and Die Hard, but there are callbacks to a lot of Christmas movies. I think even a lot of the actors have been in a lot of other Christmas movies, whether it's like big ones or like TV Christmas movies. So like there are a lot of Christmas references that I don't think we have time to break down.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Mhm.
Okay, one fun fact, Mr. Scrooge was originally going to be called Mr. Grinch, but they couldn't get the rights to that, which is why they had to change it to Scrooge.
Okay.
Which, honestly, I feel like that works. It might even work better.
I think I do too. I think it fit better.
So.
Yeah.
Well, because his whole backstory of hating Christmas because his Christmas was ruined, that's more Scrooge than Grinch.
Right,
Actually,
because but Grinch is an opposite of Santa. Right. Whereas Scrooge is like on principle, like the opposite of.
Yeah. I think Scrooge
humbug.
works better. I love the Grinch movie. Live action Grinch. Oh, I watch it every year. It's one of my favorites.
Best.
Okay, we've already talked about some of these. It did really well when it came out. So it premiered at Comic-Con in October, and then it came out in theaters. This was a theatrical released movie in like December 2022, and then it went to streaming in like January 2020. Like it went to streaming like a month later.
I remember seeing it quickly.
Yeah, like I think it kind of quickly went into streaming,
which is just weird because like you don't really watch a lot of Christmas movies after,
right? And you would think that's like a bad sign, like maybe it did really badly, so they switched to streaming. But it did really well. I think they had a budget of, if I'm remembering correctly, like 20 million, which all things considered is like pretty medium.
Yeah.
And they ended up grossing over like 70 million worldwide. So it did actually like very solid. It has like very solid reviews across the board. Like I'm pretty sure it has like over 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, and so like it was pretty well received. And then the last thing is, if you really love this movie, they are working on a sequel.
Yes,
I think they confirmed one like right after the movie came out. But like I'm pretty sure like 2 weeks ago, David Harbour was like, the writing has started or is done.
Do you know what?
Like,
I think I saw that. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
It's happening. It's happening maybe soon.
Nice. Love it. I found 3 fun facts about Christmas.
Okay.
I mean, I found a list of way more than that, but there's 3 that I think would be
Let's
fun
go
to
with the 3
highlight.
good ones.
Because you said that was your last fun fact.
Yes.
All right. So, first fun fact. This is from a 2-second Google. Christmas tree origins. Christmas trees have pagan roots.
Yeah, they do.
So, because
Love the
pagans
pagans.
would bring fir trees into their homes to represent everlasting life and fertility. So, Christmas trees are pagan.
Now, are you guys real or artificial tree people?
Okay, so growing up, we were always real. Our
Mhm.
entire childhood, I think, until Matthew graduated. Like, we were
Mhm.
always real.
Mhm.
We are artificial.
I'm artificial. Yeah.
I'm artificial too.
But I will say, I like incorporating real greens, like garlands that are real
Yes.
in
Yeah.
other places in my house. So I have like real garland and wreath,
Yes.
but a fake tree.
Yeah.
I have-
I feel like
I have
that's
a-
a good way to do it.
Yeah. I have a real mistletoe. But
Mhm.
other
Yeah,
than
I got a real mistletoe too.
Yeah.
I just, real tree. I completely get why people do them, but it's like it's
Oh, but
so
it's so
messy.
much work.
I
It's
have
so much work.
a very strong fear of spiders that we've talked
Right.
about on this show multiple
Mhm.
times,
Mhm.
and also fires.
Yes, and just
Oh,
the
it's light on
effort
fire.
and the you gotta go. No, it's I have a hard enough. I have a hard enough time with like bringing the box up every
Oh my
year. I'm
gosh,
like, oh god.
So there's also the problem that can happen with Christmas trees, where sometimes if you invite a guest over to your family gathering, they might accidentally drink the tree water.
Oh
Jaden did that his first Christmas
You
home
know
with
that
us.
story?
no!
So, okay, so Jaden, my husband came home to spend
He
his
wasn't
first-
your husband at the time, I don't think. This was
no, he was my
you were
boyfriend at the time.
young.
Mhm.
So came home to spend his first Christmas with my family. And we had a bunch of like, soda that had, in 2 liters. And one of them, my parents had used up the soda. And so they then, rinsed it out and put water for the tree in it.
Yeah, tree water.
I don't know if they put like
That's what it said. It said
a
tree
special
water.
mix. They had written on it. They had written tree water.
Yeah.
I think it was originally like cream soda, but they wrote tree water on it.
Mhm.
But so my sweet husband he was thirsty, so he went to go get himself a drink. And he like gets a glass and puts ice in and he like pours it in, he's drinking it. And
Like,
at some
this is
point somebody
flat.
discovered they were I think like, how did you not realize, first of all,
He was like, wow, this soda's real flat, guys.
and it was flat. But then somebody like at some point realized that Jaden had been drinking the tree water.
So we gave him a hard time for a few years.
I love
after
him
that.
so much.
In his
No, granted,
defense,
it was just water.
I could see it being like, oh, that's like a cute thing they're doing for like decoration,
Right,
For
yeah.
some writing tree water. Like, I don't know, I can
Right.
see it.
And I think they just wrote it on the label. So they didn't
Yeah.
like take off the cream soda label. They just wrote
No, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
he didn't pay attention, but that's very funny. Speaking of Yvette's fear of spiders,
Oh God.
in Ukraine, spider web ornaments on Christmas trees symbolize good luck. Do you
Wait,
want us to
that's
get you a
awesome.
spider web ornament for your tree?
I feel like we should all get.
I feel like we
spider web ornaments
should.
now.
Yes.
Right?
Wait, that's awesome.
And then my last Christmas fun fact for you all is that Rudolph was almost named Reginald.
Reginald.
So the reindeer was
Oh, Reginald.
the red-nosed reindeer. Honestly, I kind of like it. But yeah, he was almost called Reginald or Rollo by Robert L. May, who is an Illinois-based copywriter who invented the character in 1939 for coloring books.
Cute.
That's how
Oh.
Rudolph kind of came about, was
There you
through
go.
coloring books.
Huh.
But he was almost Reginald.
Oh,
like that.
Reginald, the red-nosed reindeer.
I like
Love
that.
Love it.
This is not a fact, but it's one of my favorites. And I thought of it during the movie. But when I nannied for this sweet little girl. And one day she was like, Brianna, I want to talk about that baby. And it was around Christmas. But I was like, okay. I was like, what? And we weren't talking about anything Christmas. Like, this was just random and out from nowhere. And she was like, you know, that baby Juju. Who's that baby Juju?
Baby Juju.
And I was like, do you mean Jesus? And she was like, yeah, that's the one.
Baby Juju.
So I know always when I see baby Juju in a nativity, that's what I call him, baby Juju.
That's amazing.
You know, we need to talk about that baby.
Yeah, what about that baby?
What about that baby Juju? Love it.
Ugh. Okay, so I think there might be some variance in our ratings tonight. But here on Spooky Sips, we don't give stars, we give sips of Christmas wine. So out of 5 sips, how are you going? And we also should just make, again, a reminder, we're not rating this as a horror movie. We're just going to rate it as a movie. Because if we rate it as a horror movie, it's 0. So just rate it as a movie. It does have
gore and stuff.
Yes.
Like the argument could be made.
Okay, so where are we at? How many sips we going with?
I can go first. I feel like, again, maybe it's been a rough week. And maybe that's why. But it was like a 2 out of 5. It was fine. It was kind of dumb. It was kind of fun. But it was like a 2 out of 5. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I have to say, like, it is hard to come across a current Christmas movie that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to sound like a grandmother for a second, but they don't make them like they used to. And I feel like we just don't have those, like, good movies. I really enjoyed this movie. Yeah, the beginning was rough. And there were a lot of, like, sticky points and plot holes. But if you just suspend that for a little bit, I really enjoyed it. So I'm going with a 3.5.
Ooh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For me, I think, the second half would have been a 3.5, but the first half would have been a 2.5. So I'm going to just... No, sorry. First half would have been a 2. So I'm just going to kind of meet in the middle and go with a 2.5 for me.
Yeah. No, I think it's solid. I think it's like, don't think about it too much.
Right.
Just enjoy it. Like,
that's how I
just enjoy it for what it is. And like, honestly, for like a darker rated R Christmas movie, like that is hard. It's hard to pull off.
It is.
Like, it's hard to do.
It is.
But David Harbour was awesome in it. He was
so good.
He got a lot of my points.
For the Santa factor alone, the fact that I was just so into the Santa Claus. Like, for him, the actor as Santa Claus, I don't know what happened to me, but I'm like
that Christmas magic.
Him in that suit, 5 out of 5 stars.
I mean, it was like a leather suit.
It was.
No, it wasn't
nice
your like
suit.
normal.
Something is just like sexual about that man. I don't know. Like, apparently,
so if you're listening, David,
I hope he's listening. Oh my god,
right into her DMs because she's open.
Please do.
I really hope the sequel is actually like a prequel because they dropped such good lore.
I agree.
And then we didn't get it, which I feel like is part of what makes me angry.
I agree.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. I bet that's what they're doing. Because
we can't be the only people to think that. So hopefully.
Like, we need the Viking background of this Santa.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, so next time on Spooky Sips, we are heading to the theaters again to finish the year out. And if you're listening to our episode today on Christmas Eve, it comes out tomorrow. We're going to see Nosferatu.
I'm so excited.
Very excited for this one. So if you need something to fill your time in that like weird, timeless, gray area between Christmas and New Year's, go see this. Mm-hmm. And then we'll see you next time on Spooky Sips. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh.
All right, that's
okay. That's it.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Spooky Sips. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening. To stay up to date on all the spooky things we're up to, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at SpookySips_podcast. And if you want to help support the podcast, consider buying us a coffee, or really a cocktail. We are completely independent, so every little bit goes a long way to keeping our podcast running and improving. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.